Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
That's not really exciting.
You got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And we got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
It's wacky, it's not good, it's just nonsense.
I disagree on that. That's not possible.
We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We're at it again. Got myself Pete back from Texas and Las Vegas and wherever the hell else I've been. And we've got a full cast because we're going to talk about the Houston GT that we just had this past weekend. And yeah, Dixon, you're live.
I am alive, barely, but I am alive.
People had questions. They were wondering. Didn't know if the island got swallowed up by Ian.
we still have rolling blackouts from Fiona.
No, that's right.
Wow.
I don't know which hurricane. You get all of them. I don't know.
Oh, didn't I invite you to come to Houston and I would find you a job? I thought I did the last time I was on here.
I mean, if I didn't have like my girlfriend and my family and my a couple of
if you didn't have the important things,
I would like literally drop everything and go because I do love me some friendly games in person and people that I like.
I went to Houston, man. It's not friendly down there, but
what? We were so friendly with you. Come on.
Have you
been?
But
if you didn't, if you can't tell, that's Mr. Brian from Houston. Brian, you're from Houston, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was just wondering because you guys have this weird like triad going on of like Texas cities, and then of course we have our Rage Quit Wire contributor, the Nick Westbrook.
Howdy. Still here.
Still alive.
Still alive.
Yeah, Texas bullied me. It wasn't fun.
we do that sometimes.
Actually, I went perfectly even kill, 2-2-1.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Can't complain. Right in the middle of the pack where you want to be. But got you guys on here because you both finished on the actual finishing at the top three. So we didn't get the other guy, Rob, but we did get, obviously, Brian, you ended up taking it with your Rezzers nonsense. And then Nick betrayed the guild and went with 10 Thunders for a tournament.
Yeah, I had somebody carpooling with me that peer pressured me out of guild into 10 Thunders. And
I believe Nick was like, so I have both, but what should I do? And I was like, well, if you want to play 10 Thunders in a competitive, like good tournament, this is a great chance to test them out. If you want to try to go, sweat mode and try to win, go ahead and do your guild. And he still placed.
I gotta ask a question. Are there as brain dead as people are telling me?
10 Thunders?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all.
Like Nick was sitting there in the tank a couple of times, and I think there was even, and I can't speak for your other games, Nick, but I feel like obviously there was missed opportunities just because you don't have the reps with him yet.
100%. I think I could have done way better and gotten out of the tie mode there at the end of day one. If I had a little bit more reps, especially with titles, I was very unfamiliar with a lot of the titles, other than getting my ass handed to me by 10 Thunders, landed piloting in Nova.
Nice. Yeah, and we'll definitely get into that. We'll get in the ins and outs, the rounds, how they went, some maybe weird matchups that we came across throughout the tournament. Before we get into it, one thing that we're definitely doing that I think a lot of people are liking, at least those that don't listen to, podcasts, we have a lot of people that are joining the YouTube channel because we're putting all of our episodes on YouTube. So this is going to be on there. It's going to have cards popping up while we're talking about them. We'll have stats from Longshanks. If you haven't been on Longshanks lately, they actually updated it where now you can select which schemes you picked, which to me is a big deal because now we can really break down a lot more of this data of, okay, I mean, I looked at it for this tournament and you were able to see some schemes that people took a lot, but how much did they win with it? So it was really cool to kind of break that down. Also, you can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out on Instagram. We have the Discord channel going. And then finally, something we're starting to do, but trying to get the timing down for our patrons is we actually, if you become a patron at patreon.com/RageQuitWire, You can support us for as little as $1. And also, we're doing this side chat where we're doing the live recordings where we have guests like these three on, and you can actually type messages, you can ask questions. And like I said, we're getting into it where we're getting more people coming into it, but it's something new. And it looks like we actually have Clay with us, so that's cool. Clay's my boy. I met him in person, and I was like, yeah, Clay.
Clay's awesome.
Got that
he's
sweet
one
zip
of a
crew.
kind.
Got that sweet zip crew. So yeah, definitely cool that our patrons can, come on and experience this because there's a lot of bullshittery that sometimes doesn't make the episode.
Thank God.
Yes. Also, I don't want to get kicked off of all the social media, so I try to, not censor it, but it's good that the patrons get all of it. I think last time, it's when we had Doug on, and Nick was like, man, Doug talking about food for 30 minutes was kind of rough. And I was like, yeah, we give the full to the patrons. You guys can fast forward a little bit if you want. That's cool. But yeah, we went to we all were at this Houston GT except for Dixon. And
Unfortunate.
I finally think I've learned my lesson. This is the third tournament where there's been the option to Iron Scorpius. I think I'm done with it. I think playing a different master each round where it sounds like a cool opportunity, I think it just bugged me. It's just there's some masters where I'm like, I'm not as comfortable with them, and I could have won it if I had a different master in certain situations.
That's how I saw it, Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Brian, I was talking to you about it, and you were just like, oh yeah, that's why I pretty much just shooked it.
Yeah, I mean, I fully regretted it at Nova afterwards. I looked back and went, that was not enjoyable. I didn't have fun doing that. I will likely never do it again. No, I'm not a Stook solo main. I have other masters. I just haven't played Stook every round of this tournament.
Yeah.
But there's also a metagame to Iron Scorpusing. Knowing your opponent and using the easier masters and weaker masters earlier on than later in the tournament when you're more matched up with your skill set. So there's also this metagame that you play with yourself and with your opponents that's another layer, which is fun-ish, but could bite you in the ass real easy.
It's very stressful.
It's like it's just harder. It's because it won't align with your plan. For example, say at best you have like 3 masters for every single strategy, but you have to use like 2 of the masters for the first 2 rounds out of a 5-round tournament like you guys played. No, because like your options is gonna start dwindling down for every single one of the games. There's only like 8 or 9 masters per faction, so it's just hard as hell.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? I know we're not talking about Nova, but like that's where I did the Iron Scorpius, and the second round was like the most stressful round I had because it was like, which limited master do I play here into EXO? Like, what do I do? And I chose the wrong thing, and it crushed me. And I was like, "I'll screw this." Never again.
Do you want to hear bad decisions? And we'll get into it.
Yeah, all about it.
Round 1 dropped Somer Lootmonger. Round 1, and first off, I hadn't played a live game of Malifaux, so non-vassal, since probably August. So I'm sitting there getting all my tokens out. I'm like, oh yeah, how do I get like my stuff out? So I'm getting the cards out. I'm like, oh, I need this, and then I have to go back. So I mean, it takes me longer to get set up because I think anybody that plays in events just knows it takes a while to get in a routine. So, and then I hadn't played Lootmonger since I think Cody kicked my ass with it. Or sorry, I got my ass kicked with it versus Cody, and yeah, it didn't work out well. It worked out okay. It was against Terra, but I teched in Maris to try and break up the stupid berries, at least to make it harder with the concealment.
You played Carlos round 1, right?
I did.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, it ended up costing me. I mean, I was able to squeak out, that good old 2-2 draw, but, mistakes were made. I was just like, man, I really wish I would have dropped like Zip or something, Maw. It's just something where I'm more comfortable and can just do things.
Clay says that was on camera?
It was. I wasn't proud of it.
Okay, so there is a YouTube link to actually see that game.
Somewhere. I reposted it, so...
Okay.
And the stream, dude, they did a great job with the stream. You should definitely check out those games.
Yeah. There was only like one thing, and I posted it on on the messages. I said, "Hey guys, you got the names flipped around because they had Pete on the right side, but they had his name on the left, so it's like throwing me off. Like, no, I know he's making bad decisions."
I remember whenever I listened to it, and it was so crystal clear on the audio in such a crowded space. I was very surprised.
Well, so I told him that was my concern, and he was like, "Oh, check this out," and he's like, "Put your mic on." And I started talking, and then he played it back, and you literally just heard the mic, and I was like, "That's
it's clean.
That's next level."
Some good sound engineering right there.
Yeah. So yeah, the tournament was great. It was a 5-round tournament. I feel like if you listened to the episodes before, Doug did a great job setting up the pools. I feel like, depending on the board you got, I do feel like the terrain was definitely leaning towards Vassal-esque. Like some of those boards. So, for example, I did intend to play Brewmaster Moonshiner in this tournament. I did not, because the boards I played on where I would drop him, it was so scattered and cluttered with just line of sight blocking. And, Gremlins were only size like 1, maybe 2. So all that stuff's breaking up all the auras that you would have. And I was just like, I can't drop Brewmaster into this. And which is fine, because I know some people hate Brewmaster, so that works out, right?
Yeah. Well, we're definitely terrain heavy down here in Texas.
I mean, it's good, though. I think that's one of the good things when you travel is just noticing the different ways that metas play and the tables and all that good stuff. So it was good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, Brew wasn't getting dropped.
No. There's probably like 3 or 4 boards where he could drop.
Yeah.
But if you played on a casino table,
that was the round one. I was like, this is like a Brew drop, but yeah.
Right. I was gonna say, why wouldn't you drop it on the first round? You just didn't like it?
Yeah, honestly, I shouldn't even have dropped the Lootmonger there, because he also likes being in bubbles, and it was kind of broken up. Like my first turn and a half, I was just unpacking, but with the hats and with the other stuff, I was able to like place stuff, so I could kind of get around it a little bit. And I black jokered my Bo Peeps, races on, so I couldn't unpack with it. I was like, this is terrible. Like, this is awful. That's the worst place I could have been.
The chat was like, "Yep, no, that's game losing right there." I was like,
I pulled it out of my butt for sure.
It's the worst every single time you hit it on a bonus action or a once per turn. It's the worst feeling. Oh.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Just talking about the tournament in general. I think we ended up having somewhere around 26 people show up.
Yeah, it was 26.
So it definitely was a lot of fun, a lot of variety. I was actually surprised how many Bayou players there were. I'm like, all right, Houston and Texas representing the Bayou. That's what I like to see.
It is a Bayou city, so.
Makes sense. Oh, man, I ate so much good Tex-Mex and stuff there, Nick. That was really good stuff.
There's one thing I can offer is good food options, so you're welcome.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into round 1, though. This one was standard deployment, covert ops. And I mean, looking at it, it was definitely a good way to start off. It was good to kind of just get your feet wet, standard deployment. Okay, go stand next to the things. We'll go ahead and start with you, Brian. I mean, obviously, you said you've dropped Shtuk. Did you just play Shtuk 2 the whole time, the Stargazer?
Yeah, I actually played the same list every single round, so that should make this easy.
Man, ballin'. All right, well, give us the list for the tournament. The
list.
Write it down. Take notes.
Let me double check, make sure I got it right. Cruise. Okay. Yeah, it's called Shtuk 2 Default. It's Shtuk with the Whisper, because I said if you don't take that, you're dumb.
True, facts.
Anna, Valedictorian, a Necropunk, and 2 Students of Viscera. No other upgrades, 7 stones. Clean, simple, does everything.
Okay. And you looks like you played against some Explorer action, huh?
Yes, I ran into Ivan 2. He ran Ivan 2 with Hidden Agenda, which he never used. Corvus, Eva, 2 Brocken, and 2 Nocturne.
So, I mean, you ended up winning this game 8-2, but looking at how the game kind of ebbed and flowed, I don't know how much experience you have against an Ivan 2, or you just Ivan's keyword in general.
Actually.
Okay, so you were just kind of like floating around, just trying to feel out where you could get your points and stuff?
Yeah, I've played Ivan 1 a couple times, so I've meta that quite a bit. I don't think Ivan 2 presents the same challenges without the summons.
No.
Obviously, I have Anna, so it's very hard to get summons off on Stoic, and then also the Head in the Clouds ability negates that. So like, it's a gamble, but with Ivan 2 without the summoning, I looked across the board and was like, what am I scared of? The Brockens. The Brockens is what I'm terrified of.
I'm not as scared of them anymore, though.
Irreducible damage into an armor 1 and shielded crew. Like,
I understand that makes you sad in the pants because of your
terrified.
stuff. But the way they were it previously, way less scary. Like they literally would make you shit your pants in previous form.
Oh, pre-order they were brutal.
That's pretty much everything that has been nerfed, though. So like, let's just not remember those times because they're still
the dark times.
Yeah, they're like 8 points for models that should be 10. Don't do that though, please, for the love of God. Like, Weird is probably gonna be thinking about nerfing them again. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, I think they're fine as they are.
Yeah, they are.
They're just scary.
They do a lot of work too.
It used to piss me off too, Dixon, because I'd play Ophelia and they just ignore everything Ophelia does.
And they have concealment, so it's even worse. Yeah.
But did he bring 1 or 2 Brock Inspectors, Brian?
He brought 2.
Okay.
And so turn 1, I had Anna shoot 1 and Red Joker the damage to do 5 damage to it.
Oof.
And the other one, the Valedictorian, ran on it and also to hit puncture and then severed for 5 damage. So going to turn 2,
sounds good.
They were both sitting at 3 health, and it's like, okay, so not a threat anymore. Removed him top of turn 2, and it was literally just okay, just score points now because there's nothing else that can really hurt. So I took. I didn't take Assassinate. I took
it looks like
Mark
and load him. It says load him up and in your face. Are those not the 2 you brought?
No, it was in your face and did I take load them up? I don't think I did. No, there's no way. It was in your face and leave your mark.
Gotcha.
Because
what about your opponent? Your opponent has leave your mark and spread them out. Do you remember him?
Yeah, that's correct. He did have that. The problem though with killing the Brocken is I was hoping to do it close to his master, close to my master to score in your face. So then I had to sort of game killing Corvus with Stuck to try to make sure I could score the first point from that. And that was a very hard thing to try to work around. Because I could have removed him like turn 3, but I had to wait till turn 4 to try to position correctly. And then I got really lucky with misplay on his with Mordrake. He did some weird push thing where he pushed Ivan back where his back was facing terrain, but he was inside Anna's bubble. So then I just focused, killed Mordrake, and he couldn't teleport back to Ivan. I think I've killed Mordrake 80% of my games doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Gravity Well's a son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, Gravity Well is wonderful. And, you just position things right, he can't teleport.
Yeah.
And at that point, my opponent was like, hey, I've lost this game, but I'm going to do what I can to score points. And so we played all the way through.
Yeah, and I mean, I can totally respect that with an opponent. And, I mean, you ended up getting 2 points, so that's not for nothing. But, Nick, you ended up playing against one of my favorites from the, I think is he from Austin? I think he is.
Yeah, he's in Austin.
John Moser. He's a great dude.
He's awesome.
I love John.
Dropped the Ulix on you. Were you nervous to see the pigs?
At first I wasn't, and then
you
started growing shit. It was like, oh, this is why I hate this freaking crew. Yeah, it was a never.
But were you happy to not see Ulix 2 though?
Yeah, probably.
Ulix 1 with the swine curse is pretty rough.
The only reason I think I would take Ulix 2 over in that matchup is because I think Ulix 2's faster and can react better to where Misaki pops up and wherever the hell the rest of the crew pops up because they unbury and crap. So that's the only reason why I think I would lean towards 2 in that, and I also just have more games. So I don't know how to Ulix 1 yet, but how'd that game end up going, Nick?
I wound up squeaking out a 5-4 win. I went in with Misaki 1 because it was a master that I'm well versed in. I didn't really need to read cards. I knew all my TNs. I knew what I needed to do to score points. And I just kind of executed my plan while trying to refigure out the Ulix 1 grow mechanic and try to mitigate that as much as possible while trying to keep extended reach models alive. And so he switched from growing war pigs over to swine cursed, I think, because they have heroic intervention, so
Yep.
they're not charging anymore. So it doesn't extended reach doesn't mean anything, and so
That's
the
true.
little crime boss means nothing to a swine curse. So
Yeah, and you can actually do hurt them with that to hurt them heroic intervention, and then just go in and pound stuff.
yeah, the sheer volume of out of activation actions on his front line was insane.
Yep.
He did, and John's so good. He's methodical, and he knew exactly what cards he needed to activate what and when and how, and he maximized it every turn. He did an amazing job. I think the
good.
only thing that stopped him from scoring all of his points that game was the terrain had so many 40 and 50 mil bottlenecks that he couldn't break through, and so I was perfectly behind it enough to where he couldn't get in. Other than that, he probably would have taken the game.
That's extra rough when you have a 0-inch reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ulix 1 gives them 1-inch reach, but they have to be, I think it might be 6, but they got to start close to them.
I was actually very curious about that matchup because, like, Ulix 1, in my experience at least, because I do play the pigs a lot. I haven't played in a month, but before that...
Oh, the pigs are in my bag. I'm digging it.
Yeah, no, dude, like, I mean, I did mention it to you a whole bunch of times when I was playing. I played mostly 2, but 1 is really good in certain matchups, specifically like Misaki or even the Marshall keyword, mostly because growing up picks and chucking on people is significantly better than like shooting people with arrows and forcing them to discard, in my experience. So I was surprised.
Yeah, I found, and we'll talk about it because I actually have a game where I dropped Ulix 2 and it did work. It's impressive.
Right, but I saw that he had spread them out, and I was going to ask you about that. I always had problems with that scheme, regardless of which keywords I was using, but I never took it with the pigs because I didn't think that the pigs were a good pick for it. So how was it? Did he score any points with it? What happened there?
Yeah, he scored 1 point off of spread them out, and he was able to get that off with strategic pigs dying in certain areas.
I do that with sabotage too.
And to be honest, I had an opportunity to try to negate that once, but I forgot he had a swine curse sitting on a damn marker, and so it wasn't. I didn't make that a target priority. I thought I was clear on it and tilted that one corner up. I was like, shit, I should have remembered.
So I had the mistake of, because I played Somer, so I was like, cool, I'm going to poop out all these markers, all these scheme markers. So I took spread them out and load them up. That was a mistake.
Nah, leave you marked it. That's their jam for some reason.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just the play.
I just wasn't thinking. It was just rough.
They die, they start dropping their scheme markers like you said, but like they usually are all converging into something.
Oh yeah, it's great, especially when you're playing a crew that wants corpse markers or something. It's great. There's a lot of crews. I mean, Brian, you're a Rezzers boy. You probably like corpses. You love cadavers, right?
Just resources, man. That's all.
Don't convince him to play Reva again. I don't want him.
I don't want
putting Reva on the table anymore.
It's all my. Do you want me to play Reva or do you want me to play Shtuk? Like, what do you prefer?
I'd like to switch factions, but whatever.
I mean, I'm switching factions, so I mean, there's that.
Yeah, and not that anybody cares, but I did get the 2-2 draw. Yeah, I could have played that a lot better, but the problem is I was kicking off the dust. I was playing a crew that was like, oh yeah, I got to remember how to play this crew. And of course, Tara's burying all my crap. So I was like, oh man, this is how Nick feels when he plays against Sammy. Oh. And it made me sad.
Yeah, F that guy.
But yeah, I mean, my game was fine. That was rust. I was able to squeak out a draw. He was actually going to win, but I was able to, because I think he forgot the hats can count as friendly scheme markers when you put the upgrades on models. So I had 3 of them out, I believe. So I was able to spread them out, but also one of those hats denied his leave your mark. So it was a 2-point swing for Pete.
Okay. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's fine. I had the last somehow I had the last activation against Terra. I don't know how the hell that happened, but and Dixon was like, it's because he didn't bring Aeonis.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it doesn't change much else. It could just be the fact that he was using them up.
I also summoned, I think, 1 or 2 gremlins, so that helped a little bit with giving me extra activations, but yeah.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I think Somer 2 should work. I just don't care enough to put that many games into them.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down.
Masters.
It's like there is so many other good titles for Bayou that I'm just like, I shouldn't say so many, but there are a couple other good titles for Bayou that I'm like, okay, that's worth pursuing.
It's actually one of the things that Chris and I we used to talk about, like Bayou Masters, way back when, and Summer came out. I personally still hate how he looks and his whole, motif.
He's okay.
But his mechanical, the way that he plays, is actually something that I enjoy. I mean, it's very...
There's some pools where I think I could play him very well if I wanted to smooth it out. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I already don't like Big Hat as a key word.
Right.
Just because I feel like you always bring Georgian Olaf and you always bring Lenny and then fill in with whatever else crap you want to put in there.
I mean, you can sacrifice some things, but it feels bad.
Yeah.
Like there's...
Bo Peep. You always bring Bo Peep.
I mean, Bo Peep...
yeah, Bo Peep is in every...
If you're playing Bayou, you're going to see Bo Peep. Sorry, not sorry.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, I was like, I bring her in Sarita. I showed you a list, I think, that had her in it, and she's not...
I think Houston convinced me to try out Zoraida 2. I'll still never play Zoraida 1 because fuck her.
Why?
I hate Obey Masters. That's it.
Obey makes you really, really, really much of a douche. Like,
well, it's not just that. I've already said this many times on the podcast. Like, it's not my play style. I want my master to do a cool thing. I don't want my master to tell other people to do things.
No, I developed a taste for. Oh, there's a rider over there where like 5.
Ulix is the only one that I've played where I've been like, this is kind of a cool obey because you're. Most of the time, I feel like with Ulix, you're using it to reposition your pigs and then get some extra attacks here and there. But also, I like Ulix 2 more because he's beat face. So, I mean, that's just me. But
I think the coolest thing about Ulix 2 is the fire thing. I know that's going to sound weird, but like...
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it.
Becoming godlike in that keyword for some reason. Like, that was the... When I unlocked Hog Whispers poking my Ulix, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that because I think you and I are thinking the same thing. But we'll get into round 2 though. Looking at it, this was the one where it was corner and this was cursed objects. So this one, I think it was more set up probably for range crews, but we'll see how you all did. Brian, go ahead and set us off again. What'd you end up playing against?
Yeah, so I ran into Hoffman 2, which is likely my worst matchup. I think I ended in a 5-5 tie. Is that right? I don't remember.
Yep, 5-5 time.
Yeah, and this is probably my most feared matchup. I knew I was going to run to Rob at some point. He's the guy I think took second. And he ran Hoffman 2, Peacekeeper with Soulstone Cash, Joss with Diesel, Metallurgist, Guardian with Diesel, and a Magic Attendant. And it was one of the biggest slugfests I've had in a long time. Because I can't win a stand-up fight, and it's cursed objects, so you can't score against Hoffman with armor 2 and all the healing crap, and he just kills you. So the entire game was me just trying to micromanage, throwing my tokens away, using Shook to teleport my Viscera out of double engagement in order to gain shielded, and then throw the token to make him waste AP. I dumped so much AP into getting rid of those tokens, and he still scored, I think, 3 points on it. And he was actually winning until the last round. But what it came down to was the Shook. Shook has plus flips, which was denying the Peacekeeper from scoring him the last curse object.
Nice.
Peacekeeper missed, I think, 12 of his attacks that game. Just couldn't hit. Anna was injured too. Still couldn't hit her. Spending focus and power tokens for double plus flips. He just missing everything. It was wonderful.
Feels good.
Yeah, it felt wonderful. It was great. But the last round was a crazy swing, so he left my sabotage alone. So
Okay,
my,
just
my
gave
sab-
it to you.
yeah, well, the Necropunk's in the corner. Hopping's slow in general. They're all bubbled up. It was a casino table. So
Yeah, it's probably not worth the actions to go mess with it.
right, he figured he would just dump me on the strategy, and then he would outscore me. Right? What's up?
I was just gonna ask how was he moving his crew forward? Like, you know how like everybody has like a Bo Peep or something like that. What's the trick on Arcanist for Charles Hoffman to move out of the corner?
I think it either his totem or the mech attendant pushes his models.
Power transfer.
Yes.
Yeah, power
Well,
and then
what
power
they do.
And the internal magnet.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
internal magnet,
Push or
that's what it
pull.
is.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right.
say what they do is they shoot one of their models with his irreducible gun thing, and it has the tome or whatever to pulse out power tokens, and then they activate the stupid attendant, and it goes, oh, everybody gets to push like 3, and
Yeah, just double push everyone up and then throw them up the board. And I mean, Peacekeeper was
It's cute.
engaged with Valedictorian turn 1 from corner, and I barely moved on my deployment. So, I mean, he was just dragging me around with. He hit every convulsion trigger with Joss to move me.
oh,
Hoffman was hitting me and throwing my models behind him to feed into Joss. But so the last round or the last turn was where it came down to a huge play for me. So he had hidden martyrs on the mech attendant and the metallurgist, which I killed the mech attendant earlier because that's one of the few things I can kill. He was keeping the guardian next to the metallurgist to protect it. I hit the metallurgist with Stuck's bonus to make him not. No, I'm sorry. I hit Joss with Stuck's bonus to make him insignificant for his strats and schemes. He had 3 tokens on him, so he couldn't throw them at me because I had already dumped all mine onto Joss, so he was stuck holding onto the 3, and he was also his Vendetta target. So I denied 2 points with Stuck's bonus, which was really nice. And then I Red Joker damaged the metallurgist on attack he let through that was supposed to be weak, and it one-shot her and killed her.
Wow.
Yeah, so that pretty much denied him 3 points with Stuck's activation, and it was very, very fortunate for me. Not gonna like I won through skill and power or precision. No. I lucked into that win by far.
Well, that was 1 point. You made
No, there's
it
3 points.
into a tie. No, because 2 of them you did on purpose.
Well, okay, yeah, fair. So the Joss point was because I whispered and saw a 13. I saw a 12. No, yeah, I saw a 12, and that's what I used to force that through. So if he had a 13 in hand, he could have stopped it.
but
So I gambled on that. He didn't.
I found that's Hoffman's biggest weakness is cards. They don't have a lot of card generation, so if they kind of get a shit hand, you can kind of try to push the advantage to take advantage of that a little bit.
I mean, in this
And that's
case,
what I was
he
doing the whole
needed a
game.
shit hand. He needed not a perfect 13 or a Red Joker in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he had an 11 in hand, and he's like, he looked at me, he's like, "You're betting I don't have a 13." I said, "Abso-fucking-lutely. You got that 13?" And he's like, "Nope." I said, "All right, 2 points gone." Yeah, it was tough. You know, him and I always had this like little rivalry going, and I'm just glad I eked out the draw. I will take that as a win any day into Hoffman too.
Well, and I think when you get into a tournament like this, you're just honestly, you just want your games to be close games.
Yeah.
And if you win, great. But honestly, just most of the time you want to keep it close. That was my goal. I was like, nobody's smoking me. I don't care if I gotta kill everything. I'm gonna fight.
Yeah.
Like, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
How were you dealing with the Hoffman test?
Which Hoffman test?
Well, you know, the whole Hoffman can do 12 points of damage.
Oh, the lasers? He put his pylons near the top of the map, and I just went to the bottom. And so I just played keep away. So if I get rid of all my tokens, the lasers don't bother me. Because he can't score. So Hoffman had to come into me to grab my models, punch him with his melee, throw them behind him, and he had to get away from his pylon markers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, if I had my tokens on me, he could have just sat back and lasered me to death. But I was spending every single bit of AP to make sure I was token empty. just to make him not laser me to death. So, I mean, he was still killing models left and right. I mean, Valedictorian died turn 2, Anna died turn 3,
Yep.
one of the Viscers died turn 4, and then
Ford was getting pretty slim there.
Yeah, I think at the end I had the Necropunk, Shtook, and a Viscera, and it was just not a good look.
That's when you look at the board and you're just like, oh, what am I going to activate? It's like, that's when you have to make your activations really count because you only have, maybe 3 activations. You're like, man, this has to be points. Like, I just can't throw this away.
There's no, like, maybes here. This is denial or make a point.
And so we go over there to the Nick Westbrook. Nick, looked like you dropped the old Mei Fang there. Fei Fang.
Yeah, I
Mei Fang
gave
1 or 2?
Two. I had a few games of Mei Fang 2 in, and so I was somewhat familiar, or I was okay enough to kind of fiddle my way through it. And
Against
play
Bass.
from the hip.
Against Bass.
Yeah, he played Bass 2 and hired Yedza 2 as a second master. So my frontline scraps for Ride the Rails were gone, or pushed in areas that I couldn't care about, or so a lot of my synergies he was able to negate almost immediately. And we wound up squeaking out a tie near the end of it, but it was an interesting matchup. I have minimal experience with Bass 2 and Yedza 2, so it was interesting to see the kind of things that he was able to
I feel like
pull
Bass
off.
2 just wants to lock something down and then just, I don't know, shoot and kill shit. That's just kind of generally how I feel about it.
They also like to get their points early because they are very squishy.
Squish, squish.
Yeah.
But
And he had a lot of movement. He had a lot of condition removal. He had a lot of marker relocation and removal. And he was able to generate hazardous markers and go after the models that were out of the 8-inch or 10-inch.
Yeah, that irreducible damage probably sucked for your big Forge dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta ask, how did he get her all the way
Life
to the
tokens?
Huh?
So doesn't Jedza 2 have to work harder for life tokens if she doesn't have a crew?
Yeah, but there's healing innately in all of that. So you've got
gotcha.
Stoke Nod. You've got his list was interesting. Rough Rider has a heal, and Rykart had a heal, and some of Yedza's I think triggers have a heal. So he was gaining from
that makes more
those
sense.
items.
Not bad synergy there.
And then he threw Yedza in the mix of things, and having life leech, he just kept gaining as I was taking away. So I constantly had to try to get damage on her, but he stoned every opportunity to get that up.
Was he just using the horses just to move her? Is that what it was?
Initially, yeah, to bring her up the table, get that tome trigger to heal, and get that extra life token. And then I had Vendetta on that horse, and so I went balls deep after that horse, and that sounded really bad. But I was able to get my points for Vendetta on that horse real quick. So the movement was...
Clay asked an interesting question, just a side note before you talk about the game more there, Nick. Did bans in this tournament do anything for y'all? I really didn't care about it too much, and it just didn't come up. I banned something, but usually it was just kind of like, I don't want to see that, ban it.
Right. Ten Thunders has options for some of the common models. Whether you're banning Monk because you don't want your healing Monk in, we just throw Tanukis in. Or, like, there's not a lot of out of keyword that I even use anyway, so it didn't affect me. Now, I had no freaking clue what to ban for my opponent, and I just drew a blank and went, random keyword.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah, it came to effect game 1. It didn't really come into effect the rest of the tournament, because everyone was pretty much playing mostly keyword.
I was saying, I feel like if you play a stupid combo that the meta knows about, like Mei Fang, I would have said, if you were playing Arcanist, Nick, I would have said no offering.
Right. Yeah, those are the obvious ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think in my game 1, I banned who? I banned Oster and Twig, I think. I banned someone.
Yeah, that's Jedza's keyword.
Yeah, so I banned Jedza, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, that's wrong. I want to ban Winston Finnegan because I think he's going to do some scoring if you bring him. Like, he's a really annoying model. So I was like, you know what? No, ban Winston Finnegan. And he was like, God damn it! Like, I was gonna bring Anya.
Everybody hates Finnegan.
Well, but he wasn't
And
gonna bring
Anya
Finnegan. He was gonna bring
as a second
Anya,
master.
Yeah,
not bad.
second master Anya's pretty decent.
which she's actually a great counter into Shtuk too. Because she
King
makes
damage.
my ski markers don't count as anything. I can't
Oh,
use
yeah.
it to give myself, characteristics or anything. So she just says, "Oh yeah, those things just don't exist. Like they're not there."
Interesting.
And because of that, I got a lucky ban. Actually, I don't know if it would have affected much, if I'm being honest, but he was very disappointed about that.
Yeah, so was your the 6-6 pretty high scoring game, Nick. Was it pretty bloody affair, or was everybody just kind of getting their points mostly? Like, how did that one pan out?
Everybody getting their points. The ping damage with Mei Fang is just ridiculous, and I just kept
It
shoving
is.
random little models in to just ping, 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 die, ping, 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 die.
Yeah, summon
Yeah,
a metal
just-
Gammon, and here's another point of damage. Have fun.
Suck it, nerds.
Yeah, exactly. So it was. There was not much negation on that. It was, I'm going to screw with you while you screw with me, and we both. Hans is a great player as well from Dallas, and so he was able to really capitalize his points and eke out and math out 5 turns ahead to get his points, and I did the same, and it just it was a draw at the end.
I had the privilege of facing against John Moser round 2. And we both picked Maw Tucket, so it was the Maw mirror match. But John decided to do some theory craft list he'd been thinking about. So I brought a pretty traditional Maw list. I mean, I brought Maw with 12 cups. I brought 2 Bushwhackers, 2 Soulstone Miners, Bryn, Trixie, Bo, Peep, and I might be missing a model, but that's pretty close to it. And he brought some weird ass shit. Like, he brought the Rockhopper, he brought Sparks, he brought Bo, and he brought the new Raphael.
But he's not Matu.
Huh?
That's a
What?
Matu list. You're just describing a Matu list.
But he played Maw 1.
That's my point.
Oh, why would he do that?
I don't know. John wanted to try something crazy. I asked him, I'm like, wait, because I saw Sparks and like kind of the Rockhopper and stuff. I was like, are you playing Maw 2? He's like, no, I'm just trying something out here. I was like, okay. And so anyways, I felt really good about this one just because, it's Maw. She's my old gal. And I felt like since I had Bryn, since I had the Soulstone Miners, I could just out-generate resources. And since I had Trixie Bell, I just could lure in whatever I wanted to and just kill it. So pretty much I waited for him to activate something, lured it in, and boop, 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 boop. So it worked out. I mean, the traps didn't actually come into big effect just because, things. But we both actually took Sabotage and Hidden Martyrs. So it is kind of funny just to see how that ebbed and flowed. But I ended up getting this 7-6, and I think by the end of the game, the only thing he had left alive was the Rockhopper, and just trying to cling on to his Sabotage. Sparks almost denied my Sabotage, but I did Bryn's bonus to make the Soulstone Miner bury, and then I unburied and charged the charged Sparks, and just boom, just smacked him and killed him. With a little bit of a lucky flip, but that's okay. And and I could have denied his point for Sabotage, but I was just like, whatever, I'm going to go over there and just do something with Maw. And ended up being 7-6. It was a really fun game. John trying something kind of really weird. It was kind of weird because he tried to make it where Raphael was a construct with Sparks and just moved Raphael pretty far up the board, but he's not as scary as he was. So I was like, okay, Maw's going to come in and so yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
But yeah, Maw's my gal. She's just so good. I love Maw too, but there's something about Maw 1 that I just can't get past it on most occasions.
I mean, when you like a master, you like a master. Like it is what it is.
I just think the value of Maw 1 is just so supreme that Maw 2 is kind of like Hoffman 2, but worse, because it's like, oh, I got a crap hand. Oh, I don't have a great way to generate cards because this is Maw 2. And she's easy to counter because you just bring anti-armor and then she just dies. That's the kind of problem I have with her. She does have Scamper, which is funny, but it doesn't help her live most times. Sad face.
Yeah, I mean, Scamper plus the Sky Sting should be enough, but
It's
oftentimes,
not.
yeah,
It's not.
Yeah.
It's sad. But yeah, I ended up getting a win, so no goose egg in the Houston. Houston tried to keep me down, but I wouldn't let them.
You know what? We don't want you to come here and get stomped on.
I appreciate that.
So we gave you free.
I will say a side note. This tournament was supremely ran. Doug, awesome. Great job running it. Timely. Killed it. Yeah. The prize support was awesome. Doug did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Man,
Doug's awesome, man.
You Houston guys are...
Video. Good job.
I will also say the video really good, but also just the Houston meta, the Texas meta, San Antonio, everywhere y'all coming from. A lot of Texas people listen to the podcast, and I appreciate that. We love you guys.
Hell yeah.
Oh, we are a little bit of fanatics about the games that we play. So.
Well, and I like to think that I'm an aggressive player, so I like to think that I fit in pretty well with Texas sometimes. There's not going to be any standoffs in these games. Let's fucking get it. Oh, man. So round 2 was fun. This is where we got into round 3, the end of the day. So this is it. I think day 1, round 3 is probably the toughest because 3 games in one day can just be exhausting.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys think, but usually I try to go with somebody I'm pretty brain dead with, I can play and do well with. So Brian, you played Von Schnuck.
Yeah, I mean, I played the same list, so yeah, I was ahead of that. Easy brain dead game.
Wedge and guard your stash. So this one's getting pretty nuts pretty quick. You're right there.
Yeah, so this game for me was actually on the YouTube channel. It was streamed.
Ooh, you played my boy John. John from Atlanta.
John. I don't know if he's your boy. I think he's everyone's boy.
Everybody loves John.
He's loved by every meta
He's
in America.
wonderful.
John is not playing Lucas McCabe, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. He played McCabe 1.
Ooh. Yeah, he does like McCabe 1.
Yep. So I was actually really terrified in our game because of...
Really?
Yeah, I banned Monk because I've seen, all the healing and stuff that can happen with Monk, and not a big deal. I should have banned Qiangong. Yeah, I should have banned Qiangong.
You uncultured swine, it's Qiangong.
Shh. It is 10 o'clock, I'm very tired. So he ran a combo I hadn't seen before, which was McCabe, a Rough Rider, a Kabuki, a Kanochi, and a Rail Worker.
He loves that crap.
I know. And once I saw it happen on turn 1, he got off twice, which for those who are listening that don't know, the Kabuki makes you on negative willpower duels within 2 inches, 2-inch aura, and then McCabe throws an upgrade to her. You double, ride with her up, and throw her into your opponent's crew, and then use McCabe's cursed ability on her, which makes you take willpower duels of willpower 14
and
on
you're
everyone
at
within 2 inches. You're at neg, and 2 damage injured 1. No, I'm sorry, 2 damage injured 2.
Yeah, it's
gross. Brutal.
Yeah.
Super gross.
And so he does that on turn 1, drops her in the middle of my crew, shoots it
so
twice.
When that happened, were you like, oh?
My pants turned a little brown. I'm not going to lie. I was terrified. And so I turn around, I smack her, do a bunch of damage. And I think on turn 2 to go first, I cheated. We both cheated 13s. Then I cheated a 12 to make sure I went first. Killed the Kabuki Warrior and spent 5 of my cards total by the first activation just to make sure she was dead, because I was like, if this goes off one more time, I lose this game. Without a doubt, I lose.
Yes.
Thankfully, I had buried McCabe with Anna with a glimpse of with
nice.
Void.
And he failed that. He failed that.
He failed that. I never had that go off.
And it might have won you the game.
Yeah, I actually had to have Doug come over and double explain to me how the ability of him coming out of Unbury worked, because I never had it happen.
You're like, oh, so I unbury it in his model and I choose?
Yeah, and I get to pick so all in back with Luna, but with Ride Me and a walk, like it.
It doesn't. It's inconvenient. That's all it is.
Right. It burned 1 AP, but so I invested everything I could to killing the Kabuki because I was like, I will lose.
Like this can't happen.
Yeah, and once his gimmick was dead, it just went downhill for him.
Well, McCabe 1 in general, and not 2 because 2 is a different beast. McCabe 1 is susceptible to just getting tabled. I feel like sometimes.
Yes.
It's definitely not as durable as 2. 2's I love McCabe 2 was super fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
The Joragoom combo, you were loving that. Oh my god!
Like man, these Joragumos just kicked McCabe into awesome mode.
Yeah. Well, even McCabe 1, they're great. Like I mean, Joragumo's just great with McCabe in general.
Yeah.
He has so many good out of keyword options.
Oh.
And honestly, that's my problem with gimmick lists. You know, if your gimmick works, you're going to table your opponent. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But once your opponent can recognize the gimmick and go, oh, this is how this goes. Let me just take this key piece out real quick, and now your gimmick falls apart. Like,
yeah, I definitely find that too.
I want to agree partially, but that's because you had a 13 and a 12 in your hand to be able to go first.
I did burn a stone to make sure I got the cards.
It was important.
It was the most important flip of this entire tournament was that initiative flip.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
that's a good gimmick when you need to have that kind of luck.
Yeah,
and you have to make those sacrifices. I think that's a good gimmick.
Which you'll notice something in my rounds. Like I'm generally pretty lucky. Like they just happen to swing my way. I don't know if that's like the plus flips or all the card draw, but
see more cards. It feels good.
Yeah, it feels great. He actually he called it on turn 3, I think.
Poor John. You're a monster.
Oh, he Black Jokered a damage flip on a mindless zombie that had summoned.
Ah, he told me about that. I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, and he flipped the Black Joker for the damage.
Also, Brian, did you notice that John has a really bad... It's not a habit, it's just a bad luck of... I need a 3 to get this ability off, and he flips a 2.
Yeah, it happened twice in our game.
And if you recall, the errated McCabe reduces...
A 1.
Yeah, it reduces the TN by 2. So he's like, oh, cool, I need like a 5 for this, secret passage. 3.
Yeah, he has really bad card luck. It was very odd. So his bad card luck, my good card luck, it just...
But that's the thing. I don't get it because it doesn't change. Every time I play John, it's bad luck. John, let me shuffle your cards for you. I don't know.
Yeah, let me help you out. Here, use my deck. I'll use your deck. We'll see what happens.
There you go.
Oh, man. Before we get to Nick and how his draw works, because apparently Nick was going for draws.
He didn't want to. He was trying to dodge me the whole tournament. So.
That must be it.
Yeah, I was trying to be that submarine, just kind of bloop.
For future patrons joining this, and I'm sure Clay's enjoying it, there's a good amount of shit talking between me and Nick while Brian was talking. Shut up, Nick.
Oh, in the chat? Nice.
Yeah. But Nick, go ahead. What'd you play against? What were you playing? Oh, you had to play against Terra, didn't you?
Yeah, Terra 1, and Ryan's so good with Terra 1. He has kind of his, not fixed list, but he knows his Terra 1 list very well and his tech picks, and I chose McCabe 2 jumping into this because I was familiar with McCabe's shtick as a whole. Plus, I've gotten some reps in with McCabe 2, so I was able to kind of try to counter that the best I can. But Incorporeal, Terrifying, I didn't bring a ton of Ruthless, so I was really focusing on card draw and just trying to outflip him and cheat with Know the Warrior and having focus and really trying to work within my keyword. And he did a great job countering that. And he brought Pride, the Crossroads. I think it's the...
Yeah, he brought that against me too.
Yeah.
And so my Know the Warrior cheat thing was damn near null and void after the first cheat.
The first time he got you with it.
And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to flank this cat. And the board we were on had a lot of big...
Yeah, because apparently... apparently when you cheat next to Pride, he's like, oh, cool, that's a 13, discard that.
Right.
Remove your sin token. Good, cool story, bro. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you need to have a sin on you, but who says that?
People love cheating, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he did surprisingly well with that crew because he soloed Crossroads 7 throughout the whole tournament.
No,
Right.
this was Terra.
Oh, sorry, never mind that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I just heard the Sin token. I was like, oh wait, did you play him? I was like, oh, I guess you did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it was Jordan or Trey that played the Crossroad.
Woodfin,
right?
right?
Yeah, one of the Woodfin brothers did.
Sorry, I
And
mean,
so-
Nick. That's my bad.
Oh, it's all good. I did overextend a Huckster, not realizing it, that I completely forgot that her totem, Terra's totem, can unbury a summon, and so the beefier Void Hunter, I think it was summoned 5 inches out.
Did he eat your Huckster?
Yeah, he walked charged and
It's so terrifying. Just all of a sudden, this little portal opens up and it's like,
yeah. I was like,
Dang.
oh great, I guess this
like
guy's
Diablo
going.
2, just won't.
Yep, 100%.
I guess you
Go
got
to the level.
Yeah. So I was constantly fighting from behind on that, and Terra's hard to deal with in general because of the extra end activation with Leap built in, and it's just she's got some interesting things you got to deal with, and I was able to counter a lot of the berry mechanics, luckily, but it was still a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah, so he ended up drawing again, which, hey, I think if you draw against Terra, that's never bad because Terra is such a pain in the butt to work around.
Agreed.
Especially since if you're a positional crew, and you're playing too, so you definitely wanted to kind of be huddled up. So I'm sure it was like, cool, that model's over there now, and annoying. So I was like, I know it's round 3. I need to play an easy master. Let's throw another one I haven't played in a while, Ophelia 2. Bam! I'm an idiot. Another master I don't have that many reps with. And honestly, I probably should have dropped Ophelia 1 and just killed crap. And just tried to figure out points later. Yeah, but, I'm like, Jesse told me Ophelia 2 is good. And Ophelia 2 is really good, but it takes more brain thought and reps, so I should have just gone with Ophelia 1 and blasted it. And I had to play against Hoffman 2, so that wasn't good. I played against Michael, really cool guy, and played Hoffman 2, which I was like, man, Bayou hates Hoffman 2, this is great. Low willpower, armor and crap, you can't get around, that's fine. I have a sniper, and that's it. I would have loved to try Ulix into that matchup, so that's why I'm kind of pissed I did Iron Scorpius. But I ended up doing Leave Your Mark and Sabotage, and I didn't. The problem is I brought Maris and I brought Sly to do it. Maris ends up going down turn 2 though, because obviously it's Hoffman, pretty aggressive. However, he was super aggressive with Melissa Core. So I sent Maris up there and I chucked her into the middle of my crew, and you just see all these kin models just start like Muppet bashing her until she died.
Nice.
Wait, you said that you tossed her into the middle of your crew?
Yeah.
No lead line code on her?
No lead line code! Woo-hoo! I asked Michael about it. He said he forgot. So he's like, I forgot you could move my stuff. I forgot about Maris, so that was my bad. I was like, Maris got you.
Yep.
Forget about LLC, man. That's so strong.
So, and I mean, Dixon and I have talked about this. Some people are like, oh, Hoffman's already armored too. You don't need leadline coat. Yeah, but you don't want Hoffman tossed all around the dang blaze.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was a tough matchup because I didn't have a lot of good armor answers. Rami didn't have a lot of great shots. I was able to bury the Peacekeeper and keep it away for a while. That's about the only thing I had going for me, because I kept burying it with Sammy. I buried Hoffman 1 turn too. That was pretty good.
Love it.
So that helped me sustain the game, but since Maris died, I wasn't able to go scheme quick enough. And I think Michael also had Leave Your Mark, so that was tough to score. We were kind of fighting, and obviously his stuff hurt a lot more. Ended up losing this one 4-3. I felt okay about it, but the thing that made me the happiest is we stopped about, I think, round 3. We were like, let's go get a beer. And we went and got a beer. And it probably cost us about 20 minutes out of the round, but I was like, I don't care.
Let's just go. Come on now.
But end of day 1-1-1. So, pew-pew.
Perfectly even. It's all that matters.
Hey, no goose eggs. That's what I'm all about.
Heck yeah.
So, end of day 1, we go get some food, and Brian gets hit on by an old lady that's drunk.
Yeah. Thank you,
welcome,
Nick.
Brian.
I appreciate that.
That was from our table.
Yeah. Why you thumbs up, Dixon? You were part of that.
She was on. She's
like,
in the bathroom.
I got you.
And she was like,
"No, he approves. If Dixon approves, it's good."
She was like, "I love nerds." We were like, "Yeah, you should go check out Brian's table over there."
Yep.
And she was like right behind Brian too. I think
she was. I think she was flirting with John mostly.
Nice. Old ladies got to hunt. And for some reason, we made the mistake of doing the henchman hardcore.
Oh, Jesus.
What are
We're
you
not
guys
talking about that here, right?
No, we're not. Because I was just going to say, I tried it for the first time. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry.
So, henchman hardcore it's a shit game mode designed for power gamers. Like,
Is it? Isn't it supposed to be the fun thing?
No, okay. You can be
Maybe
fun,
for
but
learning.
you want to take the cheesiest possible crew you can take and dump everyone with it. And
that's what people did.
I also won that, so yes.
Man, what a dick.
Well, okay, so the problem is that Rob always talks about how great his henchman hardcore is, and so I have to go even harder to make sure he doesn't win henchman hardcore.
This isn't the Cold War, Brian. You don't have to do that.
It's Texas. We have to do it here.
Yeah, these guys are brutal.
But being honest here, are you guys a fan of henchman hardcore?
No,
okay.
Not in the slightest.
Nobody.
I would much rather have just went and got dinner and drinks after and just hung out with people.
I dropped after the second round because I played against some stupid. What was that stupid? It was a Taylor stupid Ronin bullshit list, and I was just like, "All right, well, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it. Yeah, cool. Let's do this."
Yeah.
Done.
I regretted it after I had to reread Plant Explosives
Yes.
4 times. I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Why does
wrong
my
here?
head hurt so much?
Like, I'm done. Why am I doing this? And I just tried to get as many leaps off by top decking with Desper because I picked a shit list and I just fucked around the entire time.
Yeah, I ran Valedictorian, a Viscera, a Steel, and a Necropunk. And it was just card draw.
Plus, nobody explained the rules to me. Like, I think the first game I cheated and I brought like 5 models, and you're only supposed to bring like 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I'll bring like 3 test subjects. It was fun, but it was cheating, so I'm sorry. But anyways, back to real things, because that's silly.
Things that actually matter, not hardcore.
Day 2, how's everybody feeling?
Oh, I got
pretty
some
good.
sleep.
Well, I was scared because I knew my next match was going to be against Andre. So
I think I caught syphilis from Las Vegas, so I was feeling a little scratchy. Wait, no, that's not it. It was something.
You're going to edit that out, right? Like, you don't need to know that.
Think of a non-sexually transmitted disease for...
Is that an STD? That's not what she told me, but... It's the tractor story. For anybody that used to watch... Anybody that watched the old Seinfeld show with the tractor story where the girl, ends up getting an STD and her boyfriend said it was from the tractor and not him. But, yeah, I think... And it was, honestly, looking at the standings, it was pretty wide open. Like, tons of draws. I don't think anybody was undefeated. Was Andre undefeated at this point?
Andre was undefeated.
Okay, he was the only one, though.
Yeah, he was the last one standing that was undefeated.
So, Brian, we know what that means.
So, yeah, it means I run into Andre.
So, you have to run it into Andre.
Only because my differential was slightly better than Rob's. Because I 8-2'd and 8-1'd.
So, you've never played Andre before, right? That's a new matchup for you?
Never.
Okay.
It never happens. I've never played against...
So walk me through your mindset here, because Brian, I don't know about you, but anytime I go against somebody who I know is just a beat stick of a player, just somebody who's good, and it'd be the same thing if I played against you. I would be like, okay, I got to bring the good stuff, because not only do I got to play good, I got to bring my solid list and just try to eke out a victory, try to get my points, and try to deny some there.
I got a couple of questions because I used to do this with my friends all the time when we were top tables. Did you like bluff your way through victory? Because that's basically my win condition was basically like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So like, I'm gonna.
Dixon's lying to people, Brian. What do you
do? No, I don't.
Like,
the problem with Andre is it's very hard to bluff him. Like him and I
Really?
played so many games against each other that we know what the other person's going for. We know the schemes that the other person likes. And if I deviate too much away from my standard route that I go, I lose the game trying to be cute. So rather than being cute, I'd rather just play to the best of my ability, and if I win, I win.
I used to do that a lot too.
It just doesn't work.
And this is flank carve the path, by the way.
Yeah, and so it's hard to say going into that game because he was playing Guild. I've never played into him playing Guild, so I wasn't sure what to
playing
expect.
Lucius, was he doing Lucius? I'm guessing 2, knowing Andre.
Yeah, he
like
did
just
Lucius
hearing
2.
his play style. I mean,
and he didn't know what he was going to run up until he clicked the button. He was between Sonya and Lucius. I think Sonya probably would have been a better play into me. Sonya won. I think she just has a lot of options that people are sleeping on personally. But
because it can reduce auras, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's actions. Is it the abilities? I'll have to double
it's
check.
abilities.
Oh, just abilities straight up.
Well, I think it's actions. So if you have like an R on your action,
Yeah,
never
sorry.
that.
So
Yeah,
it's
Either way, more playability than people are using.
Right, and
And expert marksman built-in armor ignore.
Right, she takes expert marksman, which gives her built-in armor ignoring, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, Guild in general probably makes you a little nervous, doesn't it?
Yeah, Guild.
Just because they got an upgrade they can just throw out there.
Yeah, I mean, Leadline Code just what's up?
So no, just like specify the ability is every non-melee action within her line of sight, so she doesn't have to be close. You lower the value of that action by their burning condition, so she can make a range attack 0. So,
right, and so I mean, I love it into. I think I ran her once into 10 Thunders and put 8 burning onto onto Fuhatsu turn 1, and then just like removed his range, and he was in the threat for the rest of the game.
So what's the game plan here, Brian? What are you doing?
So I mean, game plan is the same. I took the same list. Andre knew my list.
We all know the list.
It is. Yeah, it's the default list, right? So let me look. Well, what did I run? I ran Sabotage, and I ran Hidden Martyrs.
It's a good combo.
And so I figured that him and I were going to get stuck in because he's an aggressive player like myself. So we clashed near the top of the board. Our crew just ran into each other. I ran into his bubble. He ran into mine, and we just started slugging it out. I had 2 very specific plans going into this. One was that Agent 46 needs to always be stunned. He can never not be stunned because all the bonus attacks that he gets, he can shred me. And so I had to keep him stunned and accomplish that. So easily. He'd activate with him while stunned. He had to use his bonus as a 1 action, get it 1 shot in, and then another model would stun him right after that. So the bonus actions were all without triggers. So he was very unhappy about that. And then the second thing was to keep the scribe as buried as possible throughout the whole game.
Nice.
I mean, I dropped the Valley on the scribe because if I was like, I don't care. He just needs to be gone.
Sure.
And so without that, I was able to, cheat my cards and draw and do my shenanigans. But if I was having to pitch cards to cheat, it would have severely limited my options. Granted, round 4, I think, I was able to cheat 5 Severes through the Betrayal Aura. And he was a little salty about that one. Just a little bit. But I mean, overall, like my game plan went through, and then he made a major mistake with his Hidden Martyrs. He let me kill his first. He had 2 changelings. He let me kill one of his changelings to score Hidden Martyrs, not realizing that the other one was threatened by Student Viscera. So when I killed them both on the same turn, it removed 2 points. And the game was pretty much over at that point. Because we both scored full for our strategy. I couldn't stop Lucius from teleporting and kicking the can.
Sure.
He couldn't stop me from kicking it with my Necropunk. And then my Necropunk scored Sabotage by himself.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, it was easy. It was easy points. So it came down to who could score their hidden martyr points. And I was able to score mine, and he wasn't. And that's literally what it came down to.
It's all right, Dixon. We'll see how long you make it there.
What?
Dixon sent me a picture of his iPad dying. I was like, well,
I made a mistake. I didn't charge my iPad fully, and the
you
power
can go get a charger.
Oh no! I literally have it plugged in, and
and it's still dying,
and it's still draining the battery. So when we started this, it was at 33%. Now at 9%. So
we'll try to get you to round 5 with us, Dixon. We'll see how that goes.
I didn't realize that it was going to drain my iPad while plugged in.
That's fair.
Way. So I am going to be better prepared the next time. I apologize.
That's all right. We've had people drop plenty of times on the podcast. We won't feel offended. People are just happy you're live, my friend.
100%.
Yes. Didn't think about that. Who the hell thinks that it's plugged in and it's still dying?
Right.
Clay said blame the Puerto Rico power grid.
It's so funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, so anyways, I mean, you end up getting that, Brian, 7-5. So, I mean, that's really solid win and kind of, it's like catapults you up where you're like,
yeah,
I got a chance now. I got a chance.
It was a huge surprise. I was nervous the whole game. I ran into my 2 biggest fears, which is Rob and Andre. I mean, I'm always terrified when I run into them. But I was just able to think I just played a slightly more solid game. Also, it really doesn't help that I think it was his first game or second game with Lucius 2. So I think if he just got a couple more reps with Lucius 2, he would definitely have the option. But I think he mental gamed himself out of Sonya into thinking that Lucius 2 was a better pick. And so he just went through the same mental state that I was going through, and he just went down the wrong path. But
if you have picked Sonya, doesn't Shtuk 1 remove all of that, or am I missing something?
I mean, Shtuk 2 can also remove it with by counting my models as beasts.
That's right.
So yeah, I still have options into Sonya 1. I just think I'm more terrified of Sonya 1 personally. But I think that's just me. I just think she's good. And so it's my hot take. Sonya 1 is one of the best guild masters, and everyone's sleeping on her.
Yeah, well, you're talking about 14-inch threat range that can do some heavy damage and put a bunch of burning.
Hey, you don't have to sell Nick. He's a fan of the guild.
Not anymore, apparently.
Yeah, he
abandoned it.
Yeah, you're playing this weird-ass 10 Thunder mirror matchup where you're playing Yanlo 2 like a savage, and Cameron ends up dropping this weird Asami 2 list, and Nick didn't even know what Asami 2 did.
I had no clue. The first couple read-throughs of Asami 2, I was like, this sounds stupid. I'm not going to invest time in it.
What I want you to explain, one, how you reacted the first time he did the thing, and then I just got to hear how you reacted, because I would have been like, let me see that fucking card. That can't be how that works.
I quadruple checked this shit. So we were on a casino table, and he had 2 Jorogumos, where there was minimal 50 mil pass-throughs.
So you thought it was a mistake?
I thought it was a huge mistake, and I thought Asami 1 was the right offer, because you could just charge in place. But with this whole marker shenanigan and her counting as 1, you can just in a move
it's like a spiral marker or something.
Then I forgot her terrain marker that she puts out, but you're able to teleport these freaking Jorgumo 8 inches up the board, plus bases and auras and all the other shit, right?
And then reach.
And plus the reach, and you can charge up to her, which counts as a marker, teleport the 8 inches, and then do the attack on the back end of the teleport. And so on this casino board, I'm thinking, I got some safe spaces, I'm in good shape. And then this fucking Jorgumo comes 13 inches screaming up the board. Okay, shit. Now I'm stoning every opportunity to send
Well,
these Jorgumas
balls.
out with stoning for the tome on Yanlo 2 to send them, what is it, the place within 6
Yeah.
tome trigger? Just kicking them out. It's like, okay, where can I sandwich these fucking Jorgumos so they can't move? But she was able to have a lot more mobility than I anticipated, and so it was really interesting how it worked out. But I wound up eking out a win, 5-4. We didn't make it till to round 4. There was a lot of setup and a lot of reading and a lot of figuring out her crew. And I was playing Yanlo 2, which has a lot of shenanigans and carrying the balloon. A lot
Going
of
in the tank, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of thought through on that. So it was a good game. I learned a lot about Asami 2. I still don't think I'd play her, but also learning a lot about Yanlo 2 and some of the strengths that he has and some of the weaknesses. The anti-heal uh, uh, action on the Jorgumos came more clutch than the actual attacks because my Kamainu kept getting down to the hard to kill, and he hit it with the no heal on the second attack. And it's like, oh shit, now what do I do? Now I just got to run this thing behind and keep it out of line of sight. And then all of a sudden, Amazako tells one of them to charge, teleports, and hits it on the other side of the board. It was a mind fuck, to be honest with you, trying to figure out where all these vectors are, especially on this board that has
this is why I love
galore.
GTs, though, because I think everybody and their mom is like, oh, Asami 2's trash, blah, 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 and then you move on to whatever 10 Thunder nonsense that you like. And somebody brings it, does something cool with it, and you're just like, it makes you rethink shit when you go to a GT.
100%. Yeah, and I didn't anticipate that, especially on round 4, where the matchmaking is more close. And I was saving my heavy hitters for day 2, Yanlo and
Glad you
Lynch
did.
and Yuko, right? And it was like, this was my Yanlo opportunity to get some reps and do my thing. And although at the end I was able to eke out enough AP to get my points, because I was able to get 2 points on Sabotage, 2 for Carve, and 2 for Vendetta. And he was stuck at, I believe, 4 points. So I was able to get the win, but it took some effort and eking out the extra AP.
So let me tell you about this pork belly protector game against John. So first off, John had bad luck, so there's that. But especially it'll crescendo at a beautiful moment. But so we set up. I'm playing Ulix 2. I end up bringing 2 swine curs, old major, or 2 piglets, because the piglets can just move up and chuck the card markers and stuff. And of course, Bo Peep's in there. And so, anyways, you get into this game, and I look at my turn 1 hand, and I look and I have the red joker. I think I have a 13 in there, probably an 11, and then a couple mods, maybe. So, anyways, as I'm an aggressive player, John's not. So off the bat, I don't think it's a good matchup for him playing against an aggressive player just because of his style. So we always have a good game, but I feel like if the cards allow me to be more aggressive, it usually ends up bad for him. And when I drew that hot hand turn 1, I was like, something's going to die. I'm killing something turn 1. The only thing I had to guard against is he dropped McCabe 1. So I knew his stupid gun with the, what is it? It's stun and slow that it gives out or whatever. And he can get a blast on it. So I'm like, okay, I got to guard against that. So I end up doing, the pig move and stuff. I'm moving pigs. I had a herd 'em dude, whatever the hell they're called. Little pokey dudes. Tools for the job, good. Turns out, if you can bring it, bring it. But
it's so good.
I end up moving kind of my crew around, right? And it gets to a point where John is finally going with McCabe to try to get 2 or 3 of my models with this stupid stun attack. So he ends up shooting at one of my swine cursed, which already has fast because of Bo Peep and a glowy token. So he ends up flipping, and he gets pretty good. He cheats like a 12 or something to go off, so it's like at an 18. Anyways, he put focus into it. I end up meeting him at an 18. Just put him on a double negative so he can't cheat in like the higher damage and the blast mark. And lo and behold, he gets the min, so it's only like 2 damage. So 1 swine cursed is stunned and slowed as opposed to like half my crew. And since I then could go with my little pig sticker boy, then I went ahead and drew that high card back up with tools for the job. So I still have the high cards in hand. And so, I mean, Nick has seen this with Ulix too. I end up, my last activation is basically Ulix and one of the Swine Cursed. And basically, you end up doing Herdums and you end up poking the stupid Swine Cursed. And it's like pretty much up the board, almost in your opponent's face. And then you bacon beeline it. And since you are the same size as a Swine Cursed and a War Pig, you can just turn it into a War Pig. So it's already fast, so you don't have to give it Reckless. You get so much movement because it's 6. I don't remember it adds extra movement. It might be +2. And then you...
It's speed 5 +2, so 7 inches.
There you go. But then you place base to base with that 50. So you're fast, you're super up the board. So he literally had he had a samurai, and anybody knows playing Bayou, you got to kill the stupid samurai. They'll ruin your day. So I just take that not Swine Cursed, it's now a War Pig, and I just charge. So not only am I charging and doing Stampede to do a point of damage, but also you put Fire Out because that's Ulix's thing, right? And Ulix already did like a couple points of damage to it just from his bow. But there's Armor Piercing on the War Pig. There's Rampage on the War Pig. I think I took, out of the 3 attacks I got, I did the Rampage twice. So I just went through it, did a point of damage if it failed, put another burning on it, charged, did Stampede again because War Pigs can charge more than once per turn. I ended up killing the Samurai and set up to kill the Rough Rider turn 2. So that died turn 2. And it was pretty rough just because I had a stacked hand and I was just able to just boom, boom, boom. Plus I'm doing Stampedes, burnings, shooting stuff with the bow, eating. I ended up doing Hidden Martyrs and Sabotage though, just because I'm fast and mobile and hey, it worked. But man, I tell you what, Ulix 2, staying in the bag. I'll mess with Ulix 1, but I love being aggro and mobile with this freaking Ulix 2 crew. It's ridiculously fun.
I mean, the funniest thing about the entire thing that you just described, the Samurai has armor too.
It does.
Your minimum, basically, you're going to be doing only 1 damage to it, but there's so many ways.
But War Pigs have Armor Piercing too.
Right, but you have to hit that trigger. And
so, Old Major, though, Dixon, you do the nudge along to cook it in.
Right.
So...
Well,
that's so good.
Yeah, the point that I was going to make is that there's many ways to do damage with a pig other than just a damage flip.
Yeah, so if you don't have them for some reason, like there's a couple attacks I didn't have it because I didn't activate Old Major, before, which is fine. But yeah, all those triggers are good, and you're still pinging damage like relentlessly. Plus, Bacon Beeline, not only are you doing the fire damage, but Bacon Beeline, if you go through enemy models, they just take 2 damage, just also, straight up.
Yeah,
no test. Nick had fun with it. You can see on his face.
Yeah, don't try to do damage with pigs just by doing damage flips. Look into the pigs if there's ways to do extra damage.
Nick can tell you that specifically when we play, not obviously on Vassal. We basically there were times where it's like, oh, I can just activate and just kill this model, and it happened. You can do it with Bo Peep. You can do it with a lot of models where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna do the races on and just do a point of damage and stampede you and you're dead.
Also, races on Stampede, they're not part of an attack, so they go through Incorporeal.
Yes. But anyways, John was a super good sport, even though it was rough going. So he tried to deny my second Hidden Martyr, because John's going to try to grind out points. McCabe got knocked off the horse because of a pig. So he had to double walk, and he takes a shot at a piglet because... it was Old Major and a Piglet were my Hidden Martyr choices. And Old Major died because, things. But he goes to shoot this Piglet with 1 health left. Black Joker the damage. John just throws the cards. I'm like, he walks away. I was like, hey, John. I'm like, let's go get a beer. And we went and got a beer. And I felt bad for him. That was just bad flips. It was rough, but it was some bad flips to it. It compounded what was happening.
So to anyone who's listening who's curious how Pete keeps getting beers, at our game store there is a tavern in the game store.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. So they're not going next door to a bar or anything. Day
one we get set up right. We're kind of all kind of just filtering in. I go into their tavern. I'm just looking around. It's like 9 a.m. I think. I'm just looking around like, I don't want a soda this early. I was like, give me a beer. 9 a.m. in the morning. Let's do it.
I was registering and I look over and he's over there with a can of some IPA or something. What are you doing?
I'm on vacation.
Yeah, no, you're on Vegas time. You can drink 24 hours a day on Vegas time.
There's got to be more people with these stories. Like, I definitely want this to grow into a bigger thing for next year because it just sounds so fun. Hopefully, I'll be able to join you guys that time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. That'd be awesome.
We'll get you on the plane. So anyways, we go into the last round. I ended up winning, I think, 7-2 or something like that. But
poor John, man. This is
defending his honor, Nick ended up drawing me round 5.
Yep.
And I told Nick, I was like, I don't care how this goes. We're not drawing. Somebody's dying.
Somebody's dying. Yeah, we're either going all in or just.
However,
it is.
So in that last round, which was standard and cursed objects, I brought one of my best masters. I dropped Zip. I was like, last round, here's the best master. See what Nick can deal with. And Nick ended up bringing this nonsense Yoko 2 nonsense ninja list.
Yep. Yeah. Same list I got wrecked twice by Landon on.
Yep. So, I mean, I ended up bringing, I think it was Zip, 2 Skeeters, maybe 1 Skeeter. No, it was 2 Skeeters. Bo Fishbacher, Maris, First Mate, did the cheeky out of keyword bushwhacker, putting the pit traps down to deal with all your nonsense. Oh, dude, it was so good. Wait till I tell you about it. But Nick, what'd you end up bringing? Wait till you hear this.
Yeah. Yuko 2, Chio, Bill, Hinamatsu, Fuhatsu, Charm Order, and a Kunoichi.
So this is interesting. I'm wise to Nick's, and not just Nick's, this is Landon's kind of opening. You want to talk through that opening trick there that people do with Hinamatsu and Bill?
Yeah, really what you're trying to do is get cards in hand and get focus on beater models. And so there's a recipe on getting cards in your discard pile so that Yuko can activate, pull 2 kings in, and discard 2 junk.
Kick 2 13s out of my deck, dick.
Yeah, that happened too.
Literally 2 13s, like turn 1 and 2, just never see again. Just the whole game is gone.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And so you push Hinamatsu up 5 inches, you push Fuhatsu up 5 inches, and then you do your discard thing. And the bonus. So Hinamatsu's 5 inches up. Bill activates having 2 kings in hand. If you don't have a low mask, you stone for it. You charge Hinamatsu with armor. It only does 1 damage, but you can push 2 plus another 3 and another vector.
Is that your coming with me trigger? Is that what that is?
Yeah, or
it's
with or without
like,
you, or
something
stupid.
Like
Yeah, push 2 inches away built into the attack, and then the mask is an extra 3 in place. Bill, so you're able to get that extra movement and have Hinamatsu unactivated up 10 inches. Wow. But Pete knew what was going on. We practiced this on Vassal, and Zip was perfectly
I put pianos down and just hid behind the trees.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, I guess these guys are gonna do some damage to themselves and focus.
But here's
be up the board a little bit more.
Turn 2 was the funny part because you end up coming in with Hinamatsu. I think you got first activation. So you're like, Hinamatsu's there, let's go get it. Yep. So you do it, you do some damage to Zip. Honestly, your stupid Charm Warder put like 4 damage on Zip turn 1 with that stupid trigger, and you got like all the crows or whatever you picked.
The bonus chaos theory.
Yeah, I'm like, this is brutal.
That's but anyway, it works. Yeah.
But anyways, turn 1, I end up getting a trap down a little closer to where I'm trying to start the fight, kind of on the side of the board with this ridiculously tall barrier that hid like half my models. It basically was
a 120 fucking hallway. It was a sideways like.
Basically, I conga lined like right behind it, so it was hard for Nick to engage with my models.
We were on the Toy Story table. If Toy Story was on acid, it was
I love
fucking
that
insane.
Table.
It's cute from photos, but round 5, my mind was fried trying to figure out where my models were.
So, anyways, after Yuko does some damage, because she does, I end up going with, if it wasn't Zip, it was Maris. I think it was Maris. And I end up starting to chuck Yoko towards the pit trap.
Hinamatsu, not Yoko.
Or sorry, Hinamatsu, not Yoko. Ends up chucking Hinamatsu towards the pit trap. And at that moment, after the first, up we go chuck, I could just see Nick's eyes go, whoa, and just like, oh, crap. Like, Hinamatsu's going right for that trap. And she did. And she died.
Yeah.
It was good.
I soaked every stone trying to keep her alive, to keep that whole bubble kind of occupied. And I had the upgrade that gets rid of resistance triggers, so
that was good.
Wasn't this scatter.
I couldn't blast off.
Blast off, there we go. So I was able to constantly just try to hit. And Hinamatsu activated, I think, twice, and she stuck around until round 3, but I just had to keep her just present, because it was just...
You were just trying to make me... You were trying to make me waste actions versus you killing yourself.
Right.
So anyways, it was kind of a grindy game there for a while. I definitely, not playing Bayou in a little bit, I made a couple of oversights where if I would have been familiar with Bayou, like playing them consistently, I wouldn't have missed. But there was a couple of, especially at the end of the game, I thought I had a better way to deny points and also score my points. But the big turning point of that game was Nick was able to, I got greedy, and I think I did something with Zip instead of healing him up with Bo Fishbacher. And that gave Nick an activation to go with Fuhatsu and just... And Zip didn't make it, because I had to use so many stones early game because of some of those flips Nick got. It was kind of ridiculous. So I was out of stones by like turn 2, I think. Just because Nick was going so hard on Zip. I was like, got assassinate, huh?
Yeah.
And he did. And he got it.
Well, you're
not at all. I'm just calling it.
Yeah.
Well, you're the main reason why I'm dropping pianos on people more than attacking them with...
there were so many pianos on the board.
It was brutal, yeah.
It's just like, all right, chuck you away from me, drop pianos in the way.
But the problem is, I didn't have enough... first off, Zip was dead, and I didn't have any way to reposition Yuko, so I couldn't put her near pianos to score the second point of whatever the hell that is.
Slippery is a pain in the ass to deal with, period.
I really hate Slippery.
Yeah, Slippery's good. But, it was a great game. I think Nick got it by a point.
Yeah, I got a point.
And I was like, if I was less greedy, and because I could have gone with Zip, done something, and then just gone behind that huge wall so Nick couldn't see me, heal him up, and then just keep bringing him back. I just got greedy. That's just kind of tunnel vision. But surprisingly, Nick, you played really well with Yoko being, your second game with Yoko too? Or was it your third game?
Maybe third, yeah, but...
She's solid.
I've seen it on the other side of the table more than I've played it, and pass tokens and knowing when to use them for either pause flips or last activation are crucial, and that's what I really try to hone in on.
Plus, after your opponent reveals schemes, you have so many of them.
Yeah.
With leverage or whatever the hell it's called.
Yep. At one point, I had 9 of them on the board with both Yuko and Chio.
I think after we talked it out, we weren't scheming it, but after talking it out, after we figured out Nick won, we actually found out that was better than me winning because Nick had the better position to fit on the podium, squeak into it. Whereas if I won, I think there was enough people with either better or equal records, and my differential wasn't high. Mm-hmm. So I think I would have ended somewhere around 6th or 7th if I won.
So you gamed it. Okay, got it.
Well, that's what I do here. I just just
take Nick and just
I don't ever want Nick to win. I don't ever want him to win.
Right? Yeah. Parkered my Lady J with no remorse when I visited you. But yeah, we were doing the math after the scores were established, and we were mathing out how we could score points and where we screwed up on play and positioning and the board and what we would have done better, and then mathed that out. So that conversation didn't happen until way after the score.
Yeah, well, and after Zip died, I would have had to do something extreme to win that game. I think after Zip died, I could have at best got a draw. But I just didn't. I needed one more activation to do something to kill Chio, and I didn't get lucky enough for that.
You guys also said no draws, so I mean,
shut up, Brian. You won.
I'm just saying, you said no draws. You can't.
Oh no! Yeah, we were not drawing. I mean, I would sabotage my own victory or my own draw to be like, you want to know what, Nick? I'm going to kill my own model. You win. Good job.
Congrats.
I got to remember, and this is just playing tournaments. I got to remember that you can put the cursed objects on your opponent. There was a couple times I could have done that, and I was like, oh.
I think we both screwed that up because we both had opportunities to. Because I was going after freaking first mate. I never thought I'd ever have him in my line of sight to actually kill, and so I never put one on him.
I threw him in there so you'd stop blowing up my pianos.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. What'd you end up getting last round?
So this one was also streamed on the YouTube.
Oh, you played Michael too.
I did play Michael.
He's a cool dude.
Oh yeah, no, he was a delight to play.
Ooh, he played the Ortegas.
He played Dita 2 with Leadline Coat.
Did that scare you a little bit?
Oh my god, yes.
Did you
Dita
sharp?
2 is definitely S tier.
She's so good.
I mean, that's how Nick took Nova.
That's Nick's easy
She's
mode.
not that good.
Oh, not at all. You're right.
Excuse you?
Leave Fertita 2 alone.
Well, listen,
God,
when Dixon figured out that he was playing her wrong and that she was supposed to be winning because of this, and he's like, oh, I didn't realize that when you discard, you can also heal your shit.
Oh, it's brutal. It
I know
does
that
way too much.
Her skill is like disgustingly high, though. That's the big issue.
It is.
Yeah, you have to know all the little like interactions to make it work right.
Yeah.
But you brought the default list, correct?
Default list. So D2, Franco Leadline Coat, Nino, Santiago, Gil Stewart, Guild Mage, and a Watcher. I assumed the Watcher was there to run Breakthrough. I was correct on that. So my board was very open, which is a problem, right? I mean, you're running on an open board with a melee crew into Dita, and the only thing between you two is Concealing Terrain, which Dita has so much focus that Concealing means nothing to her. So I was running down the middle, just trying not to die, and it was not good. Turn one, I move up the board, shielding everyone, giving everyone focus, and trying to get up and close and set it for a big turn 2 dive. Turn 2 hits. My first action is I run the Viscera into his deployment and one-shot the Watcher, which gets me my curse object, and then lets me end up scoring Breakthrough because turn 3 I drop Scheme Marker, Necropunk runs in, scores Breakthrough, no big deal. He got his point because I mispositioned my Viscera. He was like unloading on one Viscera and took him down to 2 health, and so I was like, I can either run him in and maybe do something, or I can go and hide him. And I ran him behind a wall, but there was just like a little sliver sticking out, and he just pushed Santiago up, and Santiago bravadoed and then shot him, and I couldn't do anything. I think he had the 13 in hand, and he just blew him off the table. Very frustrated, but it's what it is. I gave up an idol, whatever. Turn 3, like I said, I got my Breakthrough, and then we just get into a scrum. The Valedictorian, Anna, Stuck, all fighting Frank with the Guild Mage, and we're just trading blows, trying to score idols. I think this is a round that he missed his claim token. He didn't score it.
And Brian, I noticed that you Set the Trap with Von Stuck a lot. Is that just a good one just because of all the nonsense you can do with Von Stuck?
Yeah, I mean, with all the Scheme Marker drops, I mean, Shook 2 has Light of Ilios where he just throws the Scheme Marker. So literally he just has...
And Perdita's probably bubbling up, so...
Exactly. They do have a lot of pushes, which, he tried to get out of it, but he couldn't get the full movement.
True.
But you just look at 3 models and go, here's a Scheme Marker. Thank you for my point.
Plus, let's be honest, if you're using actions or abilities to try to avoid one Scheme Marker, I mean, it's like, cool, well, I guess you're not doing other things.
Right, and okay, that one Scheme Marker is going to be there, so next turn I'll throw a second one.
Throw another one, haha.
Yeah, and it's a 2-inch bubble, so you literally just layer them everywhere, so that way you're gonna get your points.
True.
And so turn 3, he misses claim token, which is actually why I won the game, is because he missed one round. I was able to whittle everything down, get into his back line, kill his models one by one. And I mean, it was a tight game. He was hitting his moderates on damage flips, even with negatives. It felt like me. That's my play. He's doing it to me, so I felt very uncomfortable. Normally, I'm thinking, focus is bad into Heart of Wound because Heart of Wound just negates focus and still negative flips. But he's just hitting moderate every single damage flip and just
brutal.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. He also killed Stuck on turn 4. He full deaded him from full health to get his
assassinate.
Yeah, well, he got his marker, and he was like, either I can not kill him and get the first point assassinate, but I can't get my marker from anyone else. And if Stuck survives another round and goes first, I don't think I have any shot of winning this game.
See, that's my problem with assassinate. Is most of the time I'm like, I just want the master dead. So really, you're more likely to get 1 point because you're going to get the first one, and then they're going to heal up and not die, or you kill them and then you kill them.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to kill your master, I want it dead.
Yeah.
Turn 4, I'm not sure, because turn 4, turn 5, it's only one more turn.
Yeah.
Brandon Stuck can turn off your models with his bonus, so that could swing the game heavily on turn 5.
Right.
But if you have
Did you make anybody feel bad with this tournament?
Yes, game 2 with Rob. When I turned off Joss.
Did Rob curse you out?
Yeah. No, that's gonna make a grown man cry.
Yeah, he's very upset about that.
It's so dumb.
It's such a great ability.
But I got a question, and I'm assuming that Nick was thinking something similar. How did you play around Bestial Hunter? Did you just force situations where he had to activate Perdita first or something?
Wait, Bestial Hunter, which one's that one again?
It's the upgrade to remove scheme markers. So
he never took that one. Because it didn't matter. So I scored Set the Trap, and the second time, you get at the end of the round, and he had a way to push out of it, so he didn't. I didn't get Set the Trap for the second round, so it didn't make a difference. And Stuck, the only person in my crew that cares about the scheme markers, sure, the Viscera can heal my own models if they're undead by counting them as living, but if you remove it, Stuck just throws a grenade. And then he does the stuff anyway. He doesn't really care if you remove him.
Yeah, no, I know it's a game of activations. If you force Stuck to go first, he drops it, and then you remove them, then it's a better match than if you guys go back and forth.
Well, right, but the only model of mine that I get a big benefit is Stuck. So if Stuck drops it, then he then uses it during his activation, and if you remove it, next turn he'll just throw it again. Now, it removes one of my activations because of I have to throw the marker out. So there's that factor, but I don't think it really made any difference in our game.
You're talking about ski markers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bestial says non-ski marker.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Here I am, because I'm thinking from the bio perspective. When I was playing against... I gotta... anyway,
it says non-ski markers, so...
I have to do...
That's why you do
the mark territory thing. In mark territory, remove ski markers.
That one,
So I went... I went to I went to the... the app, and looked up remove ski markers, and it came up with that, and I didn't read it closely enough. Because I remember that was a good part of me being able to play against Stuck. I mean, I didn't play against you, but I played against enough Stucks that I realized, okay, all right, if I remove all this crap, I'll be able to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, and so he was very cautious about summoning because the Pistoleros are significant, so they get the claim tokens. So that just gives me easy access to score. So he only summoned twice in our game. And he used Ghost Hunter because he wanted to get the stun off of Frank. Because Frank being stunned is massive. I was constantly stunning his models as much as possible. And then he also took Nephilim Hunter. I don't know why. I think just because he had to use another one. Maybe to get the free gun action, but it didn't come into play in our game.
Okay.
Like, it didn't really make that big of an impact. But essentially, he didn't get full points for Assassinate. He missed a claim token. And I was able to get everything except for the final point for Set the Trap because he just pushed his models out of the way. I couldn't kill Perdita to stop him from pushing,
Gotcha.
which was very frustrating. But, I mean, it was a tight game all the way through. I was extremely nervous. And, I mean, things were not going my way. I mean, throughout most of the tournament, like, my cards were just flipping really hot. I mean, you can talk to any of my opponents and they'll go, your deck was on fire in that game.
Yeah, and I feel like you to win an event that's bigger than like 8 to 12 people, you got to have some luck in it, especially when you have equal skill level at higher tables. You're going to have to flip better. It's just there's going to be things that you can control, but when it comes down to it, somebody's going to have a hotter hand, somebody's going to have, better flips and
and that's why I like masters that have a lot of plus flips or a lot of card draw because of
like the Clampets.
Yeah.
What?
The Clampets, the anglers.
The new
positives next to the tide markers.
I mean, just because you can make your own luck when you get so many positives, and Shtook 2 has it in space.
Well, and you can pick your, literally it's like, cool, I'm going to choose to fail this, so now I have positives for your last 2 to 3 actions.
Right.
Or, your attacks or whatever you want. It's very flexible.
My favorite ones was you fail the remote detonate trigger or attack. You cheat into 2 or 3, and then her 2 attack actions are plus flips, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna hit you and you die. Cool.
Yep.
Right.
The only thing that I was gonna add is there's an old saying in anything competitive is no matter how good you are, you'll never get anywhere without a little bit of luck.
It's true.
You just gonna need
bigger events. You need it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think luck carried me through a lot of these rounds, especially round 2 was just massive luck in my favor. And every round, there was just luck. I mean, even in the game with Andre where I was able to cheat 5 severes through Betrayal, that's not a common thing you can just do.
Yeah, and I hear that, Brian used his luck to seduce people with his bigger hat.
I did. Actually, I do have it. One sec.
Oh,
for your YouTube, right?
You got to show it for the YouTubes.
The YouTubes,
yeah.
One interesting thing. Andre only lost to the first and second place.
I mean, that's how it's going to be, right? I see how you manage this one. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
You're lucky we didn't make you wear that the whole thing.
I don't know if I could have with my head.
Hey, Doug wore tux. You could have worn that the entire time. Come on.
Show dedication.
Really hot though.
I bet he was.
It's got the biggest hat marker on it.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
I'm glad you found a spot for it in your nerd cave there.
Thank you. Yeah, it was tough to find it. My wife's not a fan of it, but I'm gonna keep it because it annoys her.
I mean, you have to keep it. It's a trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have some weird trophies up here too. It's like whatever.
The best trophy was actually this deck box that Doug made.
Yeah, those are cool.
It has the little first on it.
Nick was going to give me one generic one he had, but I literally had with the clock tower that I have over there. Literally have no room in my bag for it going back.
I'll ship it to you, Pete. Don't worry.
There you go. But looking at it, so yeah, Brian, you got first. Nick ended up squeaking into third. Just general things you guys noticed about the tournament, or how it felt, how you think it ran, because I think we actually had, was it 6 or 8 out of staters come into this tournament?
Yeah, there was 8.
Yeah, it was nice having people from out of town to come and actually see our meta.
I felt bad for poor Zach that came down from Michigan and he ended up getting some kind of allergy throat thing where he literally couldn't talk.
Yeah, he had to drop day 2. Even he said his game 3 he wasn't feeling it. He had to. I mean, he just didn't want to play, and it caused him to have a poor game. But no, I mean, overall it was good. I mean, Doug runs great tournaments. He's always on top of stuff. The terrain's fantastic. I don't know.
Terrain was good.
Yeah, and Doug is getting better and better, which is crazy because he's always been so good ever since I've known him from the locals and the 2-day GTS that he's put on from LVO and now this. He just keeps improving and making things better and streamlining things and making it easier for the players to focus on playing. Like he goes out of his way to think about the player experience, which makes him one of the best in the.
Something else that I thought was supreme is he had for each table he had a terrain listing of what each piece of terrain was considered. So that way there wasn't any debate. Literally, there was a couple tables where I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And we're like, "Well, it's a blah blah blah. It's concealing dents," and it's like, "Oh, cool." So that just helped. Like, especially for having 26 people playing, I think it really helps Doug because now he's not having questions about terrain like taking him away from other parts of the event.
It also helps us. Well, not helps us, but I mean, it's really good because he uses the same rules for all his terrain, like those boards. Like he has, 30 different boards.
Except for that height 20 wall there, Nick.
It's a hallway. It's a subway
Nick,
tunnel.
why didn't you? Well, to be fair, I used it to great effect, but Nick, why didn't you just kill the bushwhacker in our game?
I still don't want to talk about it. It's too soon.
Yeah, Bill. I lost. It's not too soon.
Yeah,
to
wait.
talk about.
You won the game. Why is it too soon?
He had Bill. Right? He had Bill.
So
he had Bill into the bushwhacker, and I just put down a couple traps, put down a couple pianos, and just ran into the corner and started dropping screams.
Right. It would have killed Bill in order to
go get the bushwhacker.
So it wasn't worth it because there was 2 traps, and I had like 3 health, and with the charge and the attack, he was toast, and I had no other healing on the board.
Scamper,
so
baby.
It was like, I don't know if this is worth it, and I just went another direction to try to score points.
Tell you, and I think that's the best thing that I can think of during the event. It's just there weren't a bunch of assholes at this event, right? There weren't a bunch of people because I know newer players. That's what concerns a lot of them is you get into those higher level events and you're worried about somebody just being an asshole the entire time. But honestly, I felt like it was a good mix of. I feel like there were a lot of high quality players, but I feel like the middle of the tournament was really solid. I feel like the middle tables were really jockeying back and forth pretty much the whole time. And then you filter down into some of your fluffy players or newer players, and they still had great games. So it was awesome to see some of those players really enjoy themselves. I mean, I know it was henchman hardcore. But there was a game where Nick was playing against, one of the I don't know if he's a newer player, Nick, but, he killed you with one of the Half-Bloods.
Oh, yeah, Elijah. Yeah, he Angel Eyes, 2 Blood Wretch, and Hinamatsu.
What?
And this stupid Blood Wretch kept hitting
Killed both your riders.
12 of masks, and double on single negatives, just hitting moderate and severes. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then that bonus action just to pulse out a damage. Just, okay, well, there's a Rough Rider. There's another Rough Rider. One little 5-stone model murdered 14 points of my stuff. So
good for
it was interesting. Yeah, I know. It was awesome. I was rooting for him more than I was rooting for myself at that point.
So I know my favorite moment at the tournament was just meeting people that listen to the podcast and just playing solid, aggressive games. I didn't get into any of these cagey nonsense games that sometimes you get. I feel like the East Coast is more known for that. When I went to Captain Con and when I play against Cody, there's nothing against that style, but you're going to get a cagier game where it's more of an standoff. Whereas all the Texas games, it was like, cool, let's go punch each other. And not that it was that simple, but there was engagement and they were interesting games as opposed to, oh, I'm staying out of your threat and, oh, you came too close and now I kill that. So that was my favorite thing about the event. I don't know what you guys enjoyed most from it.
The more proactive is what I've noticed. Like the interactivity is a lot higher when you're playing against Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed all my games. Like, they all had their oh shit moments and they're all really close.
Fighting out of stuff.
Yeah, and just it's all very interesting. I don't get to play a lot anymore, so it was nice actually getting 5 really solid games in.
Yeah.
And then just seeing everyone. I don't see people enough. Like Nick lives in my city, and I see him maybe once every 3 months.
Right.
It's very sad.
100%. Yeah, that's crazy.
What about you, Nick?
Man, my favorite part of it was the camaraderie, and it really came out in spades near the end on day 2 when like awards are being given out and everybody was rallying around everybody that won and their accomplishments, and even like with prize support, there were people that got to pick sooner than later, and it was a great feeling. Somebody got a sportsman award and got a casino mat, but another guy won the casino terrain, one of the newer guys. And the guy that won the sportsman totally gave the mat up and said, "Those two need to go together. Congratulations, have fun with it."
That.
You know, and I was like, dude, that just shows you the people that we deal with in this game. That it's all about the people.
I literally had the last pick for the raffle just first go around, and I still got that clock tower sweet piece of terrain where it has the faces and stuff. And I'm like, that's how you know the prize support was on point, because yeah, there were some more of the juicier boxes. There were some titles. There was some nightmare stuff in there. I think Nick, I think you got the Nightmare Guild stuff, so that was kind of cool.
You're welcome, Nick.
Just some really cool stuff there. And I was like, this is what you want in a tournament where it's like, not all the cool stuff's just going to the high-end players, the people that finish well. You know, you get a little bit of everybody getting in there, getting something cool they like. So really good job on Doug, and I know he got Weird and some other Gadzooks and some other people to support him as well.
Absolutely.
So I thought and I would encourage, I'm going to put up the link for the event if people haven't already seen it. I do like what Longshanks is doing. If you can, there's actually an ability to subscribe to Longshanks to give him like, a couple bucks a month, just because it's not free for Sam to run the thing. But he adds things occasionally. And one of the things he added new that I like seeing is for each event, it tells you the schemes that were chosen. But also when you look at the statistics, it breaks down how many games that scheme was chosen, but also the win rate of the person that chose that scheme. So like you look at Assassinate was chosen in 27 games and the win rate is 56%. So if you took that, you had a little better than half, I guess, to get that. If you took Public Demonstration, only 5 people brought that, and apparently only one of those people won the game. So don't take Public Demonstration.
I'm actually looking at it right now. How did Sabotage do?
So if you chose Sabotage, let's see.
You won 48% of your games.
Yep. And it also tells you when you play against somebody who chose that scheme. So you can look at it in the inverse as well. So if you played somebody that took Assassinate, you won 41% of the time in this tournament.
So Breakthrough was picked the most, Hidden Martyrs second most, and then Leave Your Mark.
Yep. Huh. And I think that...
To me, it says Assassinate had a win rate of 56%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you said 41%. I got confused.
No, so if your opponent took it, you had a 41% chance in this event.
Gotcha.
And obviously that doesn't count for draws, so that's why it doesn't equal to 100. But
right.
It's really cool to look at these numbers. You can also look at priority. So apparently the Defenders won 56% of the games in this tournament. And then the last thing I like to look at is it actually breaks down the masters for each faction and the win percentage of each faction. Obviously, Brian won the damn thing, so Rezzers had the top percentage. And Bonchtuk 2 was the only master you and Zach brought.
So it was just nothing but Shtuk?
Just
was, yeah.
Just
and then he dropped
5-1 and 2.
Yeah, because he only played 3 games.
I was impressed looking at 10 Thunders. They were pretty solid middle of the board. 4 draws, 2 of those due to Nick.
Yep.
Bayou, I'm sorry. I feel like I let the Bayou down because I didn't pick my best stuff at certain times. So that win percentage for Bayou is a little lower. Sorry, Kin.
Neverborn was, of course, the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like only 2 people played Neverborn, so...
Yeah.
Do you guys think Neverborn's just kind of not in a great spot right now?
They're
or
in a horrible spot right now.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, they're not good.
Dixon.
Sorry, Dixon.
How dare you?
They're not good. They don't have any S-tier masters. I mean, it's just...
Oh, wait. In person, what are the things that are available?
It doesn't matter. Proxy.
Really?
Door 2. That's what you have.
I mean, like,
And even then,
I've had a lot of success with Titania too.
All
That's
right.
been my best.
I'm booting a Vassal right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, Zoraida 2 got a couple of games, Euripides 2 got a game, Nakima got a game, and Zoraida 1 got 2 games.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually played Titania 2.
I want to know who the mad scientist was that played Wong 1 and got the win. Somebody played Wong 1 and snuck one.
Of
course, I tell you what.
Value players.
There were, but honestly, Wong 1's not terrible because Swine Cursed are so good, so you just bring 2 of them. You bring Alphonse and you bring Bo Peep, and then you just try to win the game somehow. Just chuck models with Alphonse.
Man, now I'm tempted to go look through and see.
I'm looking right now. I'll get you in a
You're
second.
trying to find it?
Miles round.
Oh,
3.
nice.
What a man.
Oh,
Tip of the cap.
It was his buy game. Count.
Oh.
What? How does this master in the buy be Wong?
Well,
I
you
think
have to reveal a master in order to get Iron Scorpius. That's what it is.
So
Still a win.
Wong won.
Wong won a game that he did not play.
Yep.
Yes.
Fair enough.
He got the W. He's 100% win rate in the Texas meta.
Look at some idiot brought Somer 2. What a dumbass.
What a guy.
Oh man. Anything else you guys want to drop before we wrap this thing up? It's late and I want to go home.
Yeah. No, just thanks everyone that came out. It was fun. Hopefully next year it'll be slightly bigger. Want to get that big 32. Doug wants more, but I feel like 32 is a good number.
That's good, Mark. I tell you what, I'm definitely more of a fan of tournaments and events like the Houston GT and Captain Con's another one I'm going to again. It's more affordable. I feel like it's more personal.
Rather than like Nova or Gen Con?
Yeah, and you're not slamming, 1,000 nerds into a convention center.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's something for the bigger cons, but I definitely enjoy these. They're not small cons, they're medium ones. Obviously, this one wasn't a con, it was a GT, but the hotel deal was sweet. There was food, beer, great environment. The store was amazing.
Yeah.
There's
they
nothing
just opened
overpriced.
it
January. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, there was nothing overpriced. We weren't paying the convention.
Tex-Mex was a little pricey.
Well, we didn't have to go next door. Well, I went there way too many times. But, the sit-down restaurant was pricey. But there's options there. There's plenty of options in the area. And you're not paying the convention markups and the hotels at $200 a night and the, $10 waters and that bullshit.
Yeah,
but water was what, 60 cents or something?
Oh, it was stupid.
Nice.
Yeah.
There was water?
Yes, there was.
Yes.
Good to know.
Your alcoholism is showing.
Beer has honestly, I can count usually on 2 hands how many beers I have for the entire year. But when I go to a store like this that has it, one, I like to support the store, so I always buy something. I didn't see anything in the store I needed, so I was like, I'll just buy food and beer. They probably mark that up enough where they can make a decent chunk off of it.
There's a good margin there, yeah.
And I did, and it was a good time. It loosened me up too, so I just wish I could play Brewmaster so I could have chugged a couple more, but that's fine. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming on. We're going to go ahead and sign off, so until next time and next year, hopefully at the Houston GT, go ahead and flip cards, flip tables, and see y'all. Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
It's not really exciting.
You got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And you got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
It's wacky, it's daft good, it's just nonsense.
I disagree on that, that's not possible. We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.